Good morning again, Craig Friedberg. I'm running for this position, and I think I am the best choice for this position because of my civil and commercial law experience. I've been an attorney for 24 years doing those things. I also have extensive judicial and fact finder experience. I've been a short trial judge pro tem, justice court pro tem. I will be beginning my term as a Clark County hearing officer regarding violations of the municipal code, and I've been an arbitrator deciding civil matters for over 15 years. And now that my youngest son is 18 and about ready to go to college and move out, it's time for me to take that part-time judicial experience and make it a full-time job. I've already mentioned to you that I really do believe that we each have a responsibility when we take from the community, when we're able to make a living from this community, to give back to the community. And we should do something to make this community better. I think a good judge needs certain characteristics, which I believe I have. They must be fair-minded, they must be smart. I think that they need to be good writers and researchers, hard workers, certainly considerate and conscientious for everyone that appears before them, and most importantly, they need to remember that their salary is paid by the citizens and the businesses of Clark County, and that it is their solemn duty to provide a level playing field for each and every one of those parties and organizations. And certainly that's something that needs to be emphasized, I think, even more. Some of the things that need to be done, well, one of the things that I want to do, which will help the calendar and bring down costs, is to institute a tentative ruling system so that attorneys, prior to having to show up, or parties prior to having to show up for the day of the hearing, will know exactly which issues they need to focus on. What that does is lessen the amount of time that each hearing has to take, because now, instead of re-arguing everything that's in briefs that have already been submitted, they can focus their discussion specifically on those particular issues that they know the court is concerned about. What also that does is allow attorneys who are behind them waiting for the case to be called not to be waiting so long. And if they're not waiting so long, then they're not charging their clients. Or if the parties are in the courtroom themselves, they're not waiting around so long to get their case heard. The idea is to bring these cases to the fore, get them heard, get them decided, and allow the judges to go back in chambers and start working on the next case. I believe in staggered hearing times, so that, again, you're lessening the time that people are paying attorneys or are sitting themselves in a courtroom not doing anything. I also believe that there should be more emphasis, and I will work to expand and formulate specialty docket courts like our business court, like our drug court. I believe that one of the specialty docket courts that would really help this county is one that deals with consumer fraud and deceptive trade practices. Those are complex matters, ones that I've had a lot of experience in, and ones that once you get used to it, you'll be able to get those issues down much quicker and be able to move those cases, which oftentimes take a long time to litigate, through the system. I also feel that the veteran treatment courts need to get up, and the sooner they finally are up, I know they pass, but the sooner they actually get formulated and put into being, the better. One other thing is to make myself available for other judges to be able to work to settle their cases when I'm not in front of court, in front of a jury trial or whatever is going on, and also to make myself available for criminal overflow, to make sure that the criminal rules and procedures are adhered to and people aren't waiting for that. So I think there's a lot of things that can be done. There's that can really move things along and allow for a better, more efficient, and especially less costly judicial system. Thank you.
Michael, now that you've matured, naturally you wouldn't attend law school in the basement anymore, right?
That's correct. Last law school class at the University of Arizona, as you know, Mr. Rivers, was In the basement of that building.
Oh, I have a question for each of you, and we'll start with Michael and move over. Article 1, Section 2 of the Nevada Constitution provides for keeping and bearing arms by citizens. Do you believe that to be a right, or do you believe it to be a privilege?
I'm with the United States Supreme Court on that one. As you know, the United States Supreme Court just ruled that it is a personal right. I personally own several handguns, rifles, and I would not have it any other way. One of the issues that I know that has come up in some of the courthouses is whether or not folks should be allowed to carry their weapons, particularly those of us who have carry concealed weapons permits. Now, the rules are different for those of us who are prosecutors because we are allowed a little bit wider ability to do that. But in my conversations with police officers, it may come as a shock to you to know that in many of the courthouses in this state, police officers on duty are not permitted to carry their weapons in the courthouse. That's just stupid. Whether or not it would have made a difference in some of these other cases that have happened recently, the tragedy at the federal courthouse, I don't know. But the Supreme Court has ruled, and I agree that the Second Amendment provides us each with a right to bear arms.
I don't know that I can add much to Mr. Davidson's response. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I also believe that it's right. I have my own guns. And I agree, my little brother's a cop in North Las Vegas, and one of the issues that they face is going into the courthouses. And some judges will allow a police officer in uniform to be wearing or carrying a gun, some won't. And as a judge, I would hope that if some bad guy got into my courthouse with got into my courtroom with a gun, that there would be other police officers there with guns that could protect the other citizens sitting around. But I agree with the Supreme Court also that it is right.
Trish Palm, I haven't put a whole lot of thought into this. I'm not a gun owner, but I do know a lot of people who have guns, and I believe it's a right. It has to be limited to keep guns away from felons and mentally ill people, so there has to be some limitations on it. I do believe it's a right, though. And as far as courthouse safety, you know, yes, I mean, we want people to be safe in courthouses, and we want our law enforcement to have guns and our marshals to have guns to be able to protect us. So, thank you.
Craig Friedberg. As the rest of these fine candidates have said, the Supreme Court has ruled on this, and I am a big believer in following the rule of law. As a district court judge, I'm not there to be an activist judge and to do something that our Supreme Court or the United States Supreme Court has said that cannot be done, or vice versa. I have sons that shoot guns. I have a mother-in-law that has guns and shoots guns. I think that responsible carrying and care of guns is certainly okay. The question I think comes in is where you have a situation that we're talking about, like with respect to bringing guns into the courthouse. To me, the idea that uniformed officers aren't allowed to holster their guns is, let us say, less than logical. I certainly agree with Jerry that if there was any time that a situation arose where the protection of the citizens in that courtroom or in the courtroom halls was necessary, that I'd be very, very happy to have uniformed officers with firearms there to protect the citizenry and my court employees.